Good energy, good. A lot better today than yesterday. Yesterday they started off a little slow. Probably some poor me's out there, but we got them going yesterday and had a good practice once they got moving. And then today was good energy. A lot of enthusiasm, a lot of pads popping. And it's going to be a physical game. They're a big physical football team. They're pretty big at every position. The backs are big, their line's big, their receivers are big, their front guys are big. They got good sized linebackers. So they got a big football team, and it's going to be physical. So we tried to practice that.
You've seen a lot of Josh Dobbs the past couple of years. It seemed like there was some improvement made, not just this year, but in that game, in particular the last game. What are you seeing from him, and what does he mean to that offense?
You're saying improvement in the last game, like the Florida game?
Yeah. Seemed like first half
he's
and second half.
You know, I don't know if it was his first start, but maybe 2 years ago when we were in Knoxville, he played a lot. I don't know if he started, but he played a lot in that game. And from that point to now, he's improved so much. He shocked us that night, his ability to run the ball. And we really weren't prepared for him that night, and he did a really good job. And, of course, he played a really good game last year. So he's done nothing but every week but get better. He's improved his ability to throw the ball. His passing game is much better. He's got really good skill guys. He can take off running at any point, and he's got a good system around him. You know, they go tempo, they go fast, and they're physical. So the guy has improved immensely as a quarterback, and is one of the better quarterbacks in the country. One of the best leaders, I know.
What's Bryce Ramsey? What's he dealing with right now?
He's got a little thumb sprain. You know, he injured it a little bit last week, and we weren't sure that he would be able to function and throw the ball. So he ended up not going to Ole Miss, but he's back now and doing a little better. So I think he's going to be okay.
Coach, DeAndre Baker is somebody we saw come in on Saturday. What had you guys been seeing from him, and what did you make of how he played?
Well, he's a kid that worked really hard through camp. He was in a tough competition. He played really well through camp. He's an extremely explosive, fast, a little better size guy. So he had still been kind of learning the system early in camp, but he made some plays, and he was right in the mix. And you know, there was a couple times in the North Carolina game we almost put him in. He's been right on the brink of going in and just never got a chance to. He had a chance to against Ole Miss Saturday, and you know, he did a good job. He didn't get a lot of contested. He didn't get a lot of balls thrown his way. So it's not one that he played so great. He just didn't get tried, and we're trying those guys every day out there right now, testing them, you know, trying to make sure they can make plays. But he's competed hard. He's gotten to be a better tackler, and we're pleased with where he is. And he's got to go out and do it in a game. So.
Has Nick shown any improvement on the ankle?
Yeah, he's shown some improvement.
Is he typically Wednesday's a big day for you guys in that regard? Do you anticipate Nick being able to get in the mix and
I
get
really
ready
don't
to
know
play
that,
a bit
so
more?
I don't know that. I mean, based on today, I would say I don't know, because I don't know. He's getting better though.
What's he doing? We didn't see him out there when we were
He was
there.
rehabbing when you guys were there, and then he comes out, and right now he's in a boot trying to keep the pressure off of it. You know, he's able to do some light running stuff.
How much has, with offenses doing a lot of run-pass option, how has that maybe changed teaching defense at this level from your perspective when it became, you know, very popular to do that?
It's extremely difficult because what you grew up fundamentally doing, which is your key for run or pass, you diagnose, you make a decision, and then you go play the play. And now those two are combined. And it's just, you had to change how you coach fundamentally, because guys that don't have responsibility on the run, they can't be involved at all. They've got to take care of their job. And there's another group of guys that have to take care of their job. It makes you play defenses a certain way when you have the RPO systems, which, you know, some people are more elaborate at it than others. And some teams are, I mean, it takes a good quarterback to do that too, because he's not protected, you know, and he's got to be able to get rid of the ball really quick. You know, that interception we had last week was Ole Miss's other quarterback. It was an RPO, and he didn't get it out of his hand quick enough, where the other guy was getting it out quick, and Josh Dobbs gets it out quick. He does a good job with quick release.
Do you, what about the rules on that? I mean, it's really shaky.
Well,
You see linemen downfield
yeah,
all the
it's
time.
within the rules. I'll say this: they've improved as officials calling that, because I've seen it called more this year. You know, there was a big call in the North Carolina game, and if they're 3 yards downfield, officials are trying to call it. That's the rule. And the NFL rule is different than our rule. So I mean, the rule is the rule, and we all go by it. So if you can take advantage of it and stay within 3 yards, so be it.
Kirby, what's the status of Riley Ridley? We saw him play a little bit, but is his hand or wrist fully okay?
It's not fully okay, but he's full of, he's playing, he's catching balls. He's got a little splint on there or something, but he's playing special teams and playing with good toughness.
Kirby, when you have a rough game like you guys just had, how much did you talk to your team about perspective in that, Tennessee's a big SEC East game and that you guys still can do things and that kind of thing?
I don't talk about that at all, to be honest with you. I mean, we're talking about the next game, the next opponent. I think the kids know it's a big game. I don't think I have to preach that it's SEC East and it's a big opponent. They know that. But that's not what they need to be focused on. These guys have to be focused on playing better, tackling better, striking people, taking on blocks, blocking people. We got to block on the perimeter better. We got so many things we got to do better, which is why we had the bad loss. It's not the fact we're playing Tennessee. You can't just convince yourself to play good in your head. You have to practice physical and do the things right that we're not doing right. And that's what we're focused on.
Do you try to hit that home maybe a little bit more with the guys who are returning from last year's team and played in that game where they lost that big lead and lost Nick for the year?
I don't think it has anything to do with anything. I mean, why you would play on last year's game against them, I don't think it's relevant. I think we got to focus on us. I mean, we really do. We got to focus on us, and we got to get better. Because right now we're a football team on the brink because we didn't play real good in the first 3 games. We had a lot of mistakes. So we got exposed to our mistakes the next game. So we're trying to improve the mistakes and not make those same mistakes and be fundamentally better. It's nothing about last year's game or team. What does that have to do with anything?
I completely buy what you're saying, and I'm thinking about, your list. I guess your list of corrections. You go down it every week, and there is a lot to fix. You only got a 20-hour work week and that kind of thing. Is it possible to fix everything that you guys got to fix and obviously play at a level that you have to play against a team of this caliber in a week?
We talked about it before. It's turning a ship around, steering a ship. You don't turn it around real quick. A big old boat don't turn around real quick. You gotta do it day by day. We're putting in the work day by day to improve that. I want every kid on our team to play their best game Saturday. I've said that over and over, and that's my goal for them. And then I ask them, how are you going to do that? I'm going to practice good, coach. I'm going to practice physical. And if we play the best game we can play, then I'm pleased with it. I'm not looking at the outcome in the scoreboard like you are. I'm looking at go play a dominant, complete football game, and let's see where that puts us. That's what I want to do.
You mentioned a lot about sort of hunger and intensity that the team needed to bring even before the Ole Miss game. After sort of dealing with the adversity like the loss and the fallout from that, do you think your team is more hungry and more ready to overcome adversity before Tennessee?
I certainly hope so. It's hard to say with 2 practices in the boat. We had a couple good practices last week and didn't play real well. So that's not always the greatest indicator. A lot of things that go into that. I don't think you can play well if you don't practice well, but sometimes it doesn't always work on vice versa. So we're focused on today, first and second down, stopping the run, controlling the big shot plays, getting our first and second down passing game and run game on offense, and short yards and goal line. That's simple as it is, guys. We're focused on that. That's what we have to focus on.
Kirby, when you look at the struggles of the secondary, how much of that is the quarterbacks, the offenses y'all have played? How much of that is like legitimate concern?
I think it's a little bit of both. We played some good pass. North Carolina's a good passing team. They got good wideouts, and Ole Miss certainly is. I think Missouri played pretty well the next week, put a lot of points on people. It is what it is in this league. You're gonna play good teams week in and week out. And I know some teams are better than others, and we played 2 pretty good passing teams here in a row, and got another one coming in that can do it all to you. But I don't get into that part of it as much as I do what do we got to do to get better. We got to show improvement, and that's what we're challenging these guys to do.
You've talked a lot about the things that Jacob needs to improve on as a quarterback, signal caller, and all that stuff. One thing I don't think we've talked about is like his, the work ethic, the way he goes about his business. Where is he in that regard? Is he where you want him to be, or is he still growing as a worker?
I don't think anybody's where I want him to be. I'm not where I need to be. Everybody's got to show improvement, he included. He's got to learn how to study better for a game. The kid's never done it. Coach Chaney's working with him every game. Grayson's working with him every game. There's things that he's doing for the first time each week, and he's having to learn and grow and get better at that. So I'm not happy with where he is now. I want him to get better at it.
Coach, you guys rank second to last in the SEC right now in sacks with 4.
Yeah.
Do do you think you're getting pressure to the quarterback and the sacks just aren't showing, or is that something you want to improve on, especially?
No, we want to affect the quarterback. We don't measure sacks. We let you guys measure sacks. We measure affecting the quarterback, and we are not doing a good job of that. And we want to disrupt him, get him out of the pocket, hit him, affect him on throws. You know, we hit Jack Kelly several times the other day, but it didn't affect him. You know, the effect has to come from getting him out of the pocket, getting him out of rhythm, hitting the different coverages, and we haven't been able to do that. And like I said several times, you know, we don't have a dominant pass rusher right now, so we're having to manipulate it certain ways to try to get it done. And it's tough because there's two really good ones that left here last year, and we haven't been able to replace those guys this year.
Kirby, Florida had some success in the first half against Tennessee in their secondary. What's your impressions of what you saw of them? And I know they're missing one of their top guys, or at least it was last game.
Who's that?
Tennessee secondary.
I got you. You're talking about, say that again, Mark. I
I'm
lost you
asking
there.
about-
I was thinking about Florida's defense when you were saying that.
I was asking about Florida had some success passing in the first half.
I got you.
What's your thoughts on their secondary?
Yeah, you know, I think with Cam out, that obviously hurt him. Cam's one of the better players in our league. They've got two good physical safeties. They've got the two corners who've gotten better throughout. With Cam being out, they've had to play better. But Florida did a nice job. It sure did. And, you know, it's one of those things that you got to have time to throw it and expose the secondary. They got some pretty good guys up there rushing too. You know, so you got to have a good package to control their rush if you're going to be able to throw the ball. And at the end of the day, guys, we talk about it all the time. We got to have balance, and we need balance. We got to be able to throw it, but we got to be able to run it too.
Last question. You know, the whole Chubb narrative kind of got messed up from a story standpoint that, you know, you want to see him come back against Tennessee a year later. But kind of a side note to that, you kind of parachuted in this, and Ron Corson, everybody keeps talking about what a big part he played in this whole thing. You parachuting in from somewhere else. Did you know what Ron was all about, and does his reputation extend beyond Georgia when it comes to sports medicine and that kind of thing?
Oh, he's one of the best in the country. I mean, he always has been. He's nailed. He started the program here, you know, with sports medicine. He's done so much for so many. Such a caring guy that cares for the players, and players trust Ron. And he's done so many injuries over the time because he's been here so long. He was here when I was here. So it's one of those deals that so many people respect and trust in our industry. Everywhere I've been, it's the first question you get where I've worked is, were you there with Ron? Do you know Ron? I mean, everybody knows Ron, and he's done a tremendous job for our program and for our kids. Because a lot of the kids that come back here, that's the one guy that's been here the longest now, you know, and he knows everybody, and they all like him, and he keeps you safe. So, thank you guys.
Thank you.